It has been around 2 months since the last hostage swap deal between the Israelis and Hamas, with talks about a fresh deal on the table. There remains one point of contention: a permanent end to the war in Gaza and a long-lasting peace solution. Now, are both parties willing to break the deadlock? Our next report tells you more.
In the midst of a war spillover, all eyes are on closed-door hostage talks that so far have yielded no result. The past week has witnessed a series of back and forth on lasting ceasefire and the hostage swap. At first, reports surfaced on a possible 2-month ceasefire in Gaza. The deal was supported to facilitate a hostage prisoner exchange between Israel and Hamas. But so far, the deal faces a dead end, with officials stating a clash of demands on certain fundamental issues.
Commenting on reported ceasefire agreements, Israel will not give up on the destruction of Hamas, the return of all the hostages, and there will be no security threat from Gaza towards Israel. There will be no ceasefire. In the past, there were pauses for humanitarian purposes. That agreement was breached by Hamas.
Hamas's demand for Israeli forces to withdraw from Gaza and end the war is a deal breaker for the Netanyahu government. And now the two parties are at an impasse over the length and nature of the truce.
I utterly reject the Hamas's monstrous capitulation terms. Hamas is demanding, in exchange for the release of our hostages, the end of the war, the withdrawal of our forces from Gaza, the release of the murderers and rapists of the Nukba, and leaving Hamas in place. Were we to agree to this, our soldiers would have fallen in vain. Were we to agree to this, we would not be able to ensure the security of our citizens. We would be unable to safely restore the evacuees to their homes, and the next October 7th would be only a question of time. I am not prepared to accept such a mortal blow to the security of Israel. Therefore, we will not agree to this.
However, in the past couple of days, talks seem to have taken a more serious turn, with fresh reports indicating a potential month-long ceasefire for hostages to be released in return for Palestinian prisoners held by Israel, and for a greater influx of aid into Gaza. Both parties appear to have reached an agreement in principle, but the deal hangs in balance over Gaza's long-term future. With each passing day, an uncertainty over the return of Israeli captives triggers fresh protests in Israel. Families of hostages stormed the Knesset, disrupting the parliament panel several times. Hundreds of protesters also took to the streets outside the defense ministry, urging the Netanyahu government to bring the hostages home.
My brother, Dror, is 49 years old. He's being held in Gaza for 110 days. And we came here today to tell the Israeli government that we are demanding them to do everything they can and to initiate another agreement with Hamas to release Dror and the other hostages right now, today, sooner than tomorrow.
As the war escalates in West Asia and Gaza remains at the epicenter of a spiraling humanitarian crisis, there is mounting pressure on mediating parties and Netanyahu to push forth a lasting solution, one that both Israel and Hamas can agree to, and more importantly, a solution that can alleviate the suffering of 2.3 million Palestinians in Gaza.